The loneliest place I ever lived was Dubai, which surprised me, right? Because on paper, my life looked incredible. I mean, I had an international career, worked in multiple countries, won dozens of awards, and I was doing exactly what I thought I wanted to do, yet something felt off. A life could look incredible on paper while quietly becoming misaligned underneath. But that period of my life taught me something important about why a lot of accomplished men get stuck. Getting stuck rarely happens because somebody fails. It usually happens because the strategy that created success stops evolving. What creates success at one stage becomes friction later. Before Dubai, I was living in India, and I had the best social network of my life. Great friends, amazing people, always something going on, and it was the best 2.5 years of my life. Then I moved to Dubai, and something changed. I mean, look, Dubai is incredible, okay, but it can be very lonely. Most of the people who live there are expats, so people come and go constantly, and you never know who's going to be there the next year. One thing I learned is your environment quietly shapes your psychology. Change the environment, and you often change the way you see your life. But at the same time, something else was happening in my life. I was losing passion for my career. I was still competent, but I felt disconnected. And up until that point, being a chef had been the center of my life. It wasn't just my job, it was my identity. And when a role becomes your identity, losing passion for it feels like losing yourself. And once something becomes your identity, you start making decisions to protect that identity, even when the life around it stops fitting. Look, my career meant so much to me, I put it above starting a family, because without my title, I didn't know who I was. And in Dubai, I started feeling something I never felt before. Boredom, not exhaustion or stress. I mean 24/7 boredom. Nothing gave me excitement. Not my job, not drinking, not sex, nothing. And I've been cooking for 20 years. So I had no idea what the hell was wrong with me. When passion disappears, people assume something is wrong with them. Well, no, often nothing is wrong with them. It's just that they've outgrown the game they've been playing. It's like going to your favorite restaurant 5 days a week. You order the same thing every time. You love it. And then one day you open the menu and suddenly you don't want that ribeye or whatever anymore. And you don't know why. What once felt exciting eventually becomes normal. And without evolution, even success becomes routine. That's scary. Because when the thing that's driven your life for years suddenly stops exciting you, you don't know what to do with that feeling. So, like a lot of high performers, I tolerated it. And for the first time in my life, I no longer felt like I was in the driver's seat. Most successful men don't suddenly fail, they tolerate the work, the place, the environment, until one day they realize success quietly turned into stagnation. So, what did I do? I started drinking more. Not because I was partying, well, I was doing that, but boredom played the biggest factor. I mean, I'd finish work, go home, and think, what am I supposed to do now? That was the beginning of something I didn't fully understand at the time. Because let me tell you, boredom is a really powerful catalyst for unhealthy behavior. When purpose disappears, the brain fills the void with stimulation. Most self-destructive behavior isn't about pleasure, it's about escaping the discomfort of boredom or being directionless. A lot of men think they're burned out, but often that's not what's really happening. What they're experiencing is something much more dangerous: loss of direction. Men don't actually need constant motivation, you need direction. And when direction returns, something interesting happens. Decisions get faster. Energy comes back. You get your edge back. Leaders who felt mentally foggy start thinking clearly again. When you lose your sense of direction, you're no longer in control. And for any man, that is fucking scary. When men lose direction, they replace purpose with distraction. Sometimes that distraction is alcohol. Sometimes it's overworking, or scrolling endlessly. But the real problem isn't the distraction. The real problem is that the life is no longer being driven consciously. It's running on autopilot. When somebody gets back in the driver's seat, the ripple effects show up everywhere. Work improves, leadership presence sharpens, even relationships at home change because the internal friction's gone. The most dangerous life isn't the one that fails, it's the one that keeps working after it stopped fitting. That period in Dubai taught me something I wish more men understood. Success doesn't mean you're in the driver's seat of your life. Sometimes it means you've been following a path you never stopped to question. Because once people commit to a path, they keep following it simply because they've already started walking. And when that realization hits, it can feel incredibly lonely. And that is how men become passengers in their own life. And what I know now that I wish I knew then, I was tolerating a life and career I'd already outgrown. A lot of men watching this may recognize that feeling. I call it the Olive Garden effect. On the outside, you look Ritz-Carlton, sharp. You got the career, the income, the reputation, 5-star. But inside, you feel Olive Garden, empty, unfulfilled. And no amount of unlimited breadsticks is going to fix it. The problem is not that your life looks good. The problem is it stopped evolving. That's usually not a sign that you're broken. It's a signal that something in your life needs to change. When men address that signal, instead of ignoring it, they usually report the same thing within a few months. Clearer direction, stronger boundaries at work, more energy, in a sense that they're leading their life again instead of reacting to it. Emotional discomfort is often information, not dysfunction. And if you're like most men, you tolerate it. You call it a phase, a rut. But the bill always comes due, because toleration doesn't explode your life, it quietly erodes it. And the most dangerous problems in life are rarely dramatic. They're slow. For me, Dubai was the beginning of that realization. And I realized that most people don't design their lives, they inherit them from past decisions. This forced me to confront a question a lot of men eventually face that I'll pose to you. Am I actually driving my life? Or am I continuing down a road that started years ago just because it's the only road I've known? Thanks for watching. See you next week. I'm Curt. I help accomplished men stop tolerating lives and careers they've outgrown and take back control of their direction. Cheers. Oh, and if this resonated, hit like and subscribe.